We've heard a lot about what competition is like today, and I want to share with you these 5 pillars of economic competitiveness, because what I found as Secretary of Commerce, each of these 5 pillars were important for a region in Virginia to grow and prosper. And if it didn't have each of these 5 pillars, it wasn't growing and prospering. And then, of course, statewide, we have to have these as well. So a competent workforce, we've heard about that today. Intellectual capacity, we've heard about that today. Logistics or connectivity, we've heard about that today. And this spirit of entrepreneurship and innovation to help small businesses grow and prosper. And of course, a pro-business climate. You can find a lot of states that actually have bright people, hardworking people that have great transportation systems, and even spirits of entrepreneurship. But it's really the pro-business climate that sets states apart. And I would say to you, why do we have the lowest unemployment rate in the Southeast? Because of our pro-business climate. Former governors, this current governor, and members of the General Assembly are pro-business and support pro-business initiatives. That's what sets Virginia apart, and that's what a lot of our local governments do on a regional basis as well. But I will say this about Virginia. We have to learn this lesson as regions. We've got to learn this lesson because business understands it, and our government officials need to continue to find ways to implement it. Economic development does not occur along political boundaries. Economic development occurs along regional economic boundaries. And it's those economic regions that grow and prosper as they focus on these key competitive components. So as we think about Blueprint Virginia, we're going to be thinking about regional assets and how they have statewide themes. What do I hear from CEOs today? You know, I didn't write the governor's speech, but these are the things that I hear from CEOs today in Virginia. They need a productive workforce that can help keep their business competitive, and they have to be able to get their people to and from work. And they have to be able to make sure we move people and products and that we are, in fact, effective at our transportation network. These are big challenges facing Virginia today. I'm just going to glance at this for your own purposes to tell you that where we are with workforce today is probably best identified through our strategic partner in the Blueprint Virginia, and that is the Council on Virginia's Future. And I know Jane Kuziak is here somewhere, and she is going to work with us closely, and the governor's office supporting this initiative. And as many of you know, the Council on Virginia Future issues a scorecard that focuses on the economy and public safety and health and family and natural resources and government and its citizen involvement. They also focus on education and transportation, and we're going to be working closely with them. This particular document that's going to be released in detail in December is the report card on Virginia's workforce system. And this report card, again, with the help of the governor's office and the Workforce Council, along with the Career Pathways Work Group, is going to be coming out with this in detail in December. But what does the preliminary data tell us? It tells us that we're actually improving or maintaining in STEM-H pipeline, secondary educational attainment, post-secondary educational attainment, career and college readiness, employment and business development, and workforce in manufacturing. We are, though, falling behind in those finishing their GED or entering the GED program. We have a baseline of this, though, by region that we'll be rolling out next year. And where are we on transportation? I think that could be a short conversation because many of you know the challenges with transportation. But the Commonwealth is really home to 3 of the nation's most congested regions. We're clearly #1, and Rob's over here, Northern Virginia is #1 in congestion. Hampton Roads 29, and Richmond is 63. And the cost to Virginia businesses' productivity is challenging. And we have seen evidence of that in our national ranking. Unfortunately, Virginia has slipped to #3 in the top state for business by the CNBC annual ranking. And the #1 reason they cite for that is transportation. Unfortunately, what we have found, and I know our friends from the Port Authority, Rodney Oliver and Jeff Keever are here, and I saw Jennifer Ahmed, who's on the board. We found that while we have great on-dock investment, we don't really have the investment off-dock to help us get where we need to go. Fortunately, our rail infrastructure, greatly improving, but it's the surface transportation that's our challenge. What happened in 1986? What was happening in Virginia that caused us to get together and think about transportation? It's interesting, the more things change, sometimes they stay the same. We had a forecast decline in construction funding relative to maintenance. We had demands for dedicated transit funding. and the Port Authority needed some funding. And so we need to really ask ourselves, where do we want to be 10 years from now in education, and where do we want to be in workforce, and so many other components. And so let me ask you this question. You can answer it to yourself. Who's in charge of Virginia's economic future? As much respect as I have for members of the General Assembly, those who meet 45 days one year and 60 days the next, and there are 140 individuals who are dedicated to public service, it's a challenge for them to be in charge of the economic development plan. And I will say to you that it's similar for the governor's office. And why is it so similar? I can tell you, as my time as Secretary of Commerce with the one-term governor, by the time you come into office, it's been 6 months developing an economic development plan. You have 3.5 years to implement it. And the last year, people are starting to think about perhaps the next administration. So it's a short time frame that you have to really develop and implement your economic development plan. So how can the Virginia business community have a long-term 8 to 10 year process in shaping the economic future of Virginia? They can really do so by entering into a process that we can help facilitate at the State Chamber called Blueprint Virginia. I'll quickly run through this mission and vision and how we're going to organize, and I'm going to close by asking you if you want to be involved to let us know and tell you how to do that. We envision a continuous economic development plan that ensures our competitive future in this global economy. We think it's going to provide a tool for analyzing regional and state economy. And we're going to work with the existing regions, because some of you have already done a great job of establishing your regional priorities. And we're going to recognize those regional priorities and economic development plans, while at the same time, we're going to be looking to pull over overarching statewide themes. So this will give us a chance as a business community, and that is to provide some economic development leadership. Well, you might ask me, how do we get organized as a business community? How is it that we do that? Well, we, through our allies in this room, represent about 50,000 of the 200,000 businesses in Virginia. That's an amazing number. If we can unite in our vision, if we can unite in our priorities, and if we can, in fact, focus on those real issues that impact our competitiveness, we as the business community can help communicate to our policymakers and build a case for investments in these critical areas. And just as a reminder, these are the areas of focus for us in the blueprint: increasing educational achievement, which will help our workforce; developing transportation infrastructure for a competitive economy; promoting a pro-business climate to help support manufacturing; fostering innovation and entrepreneurship; delivering quality, cost-effective health care; and ensuring energy for our future. This is too busy of a slide, but I just want to mention to you that the organization of this will be both regionally as well as industry. And we'll hold about 30 public hearings in these regions and analyze where each region is in these areas as it relates to their economic competitiveness. And we'll recognize the organizations who are already in place to help form these regional councils. But if you're interested in being a part of these regional councils, please let us know. On the way out, there'll be a desk with a couple of our staff people there, and you can give them your business card. We'll send you a survey, but you can let us know if you're interested in being on the regional council, participating and helping to participate in these groups that we hold public hearings on, or these industry councils: transportation, innovation and entrepreneurship, education and workforce, manufacturing, energy, business climate, or healthcare. These are the big competitive issues that will be statewide driven and regionally recognized. We'll form an advisory council of leaders of these two groups, and then the CEOs of the Virginia businesses, small and large, will help form a steering committee of about 25 to ensure that we keep our priority issues in line and we determine some real actionable goals. Let me close by telling you these are some of the groups that have already come on board. Our stakeholder group represents over 25 chambers, and many of the CEOs are here today, and I want to thank you. And our economic development organizations that will help cooperate and support this effort include our Economic Development Partnership, Liz Povar, who's here, the Department of Housing and Community Development, Bill Shelton, and many other of the economic development groups that are here. And I want to thank you for your support as a stakeholder in this process. And the industries that have already signed on include Manufacturers Association, Renewable Energy, our Transportation Construction Alliance, Biotech, our Association of Realtors, and thank many of you for being here, our health plans, Petroleum Council as well. And then where's the real talent and skilled talent in doing some kind of a blueprint for Virginia? I would submit to you that the LEAD programs in Virginia have done a wonderful job. They've done a great job not only statewide with Susan Horn and her group, but there are regional chambers and independent LEAD organizations. Many are here today. Both the active students and the alumni can contribute significantly to creating an economic roadmap for Virginia's future. And we want to invite all of you to be a part. So whether you're a part of the regional councils or whether you're a part of the industry process, we want to invite you to get involved. Go to the VA Chamber website. They'll ask you how you'd like to get involved. We want to encourage you to do that. I will just simply tell you that we have a timeline that looks like this. Launching this economic blueprint today at the summit. In January, we're going to organize the regional councils and industry stakeholders based on your input and desire to be involved. And then February through June, we'll be doing our regional assessments as well as our grassroots outreach with over 20 meetings in your regions throughout the Commonwealth. Many of you will host us when we arrive, and we look forward to working with you, and thank you because we intend for this to be an inclusive process. Our goal is by the end of the summer to work with our advisory council and our steering committee to help finalize the blueprint, to finalize not only the situational analysis of each of these competitive areas, but ask ourselves aspirational questions. Where do we want to be in 8 years? Where do we want to be in 10 years? And who do we want to communicate that to? I would submit to you we want to communicate this Blueprint Virginia and present it to the governor-elect about this time next year. Because that governor will have to create a strategic plan for economic development, have 4 years to implement it, and at this point in time, we're talking to both or those who are leading candidates for governor in both parties. We want to keep them involved. That's an ever-changing landscape, I've learned. But we want to keep them both, or the multiple candidates who are involved. Let them know throughout next year this process is underway. I've already started that communication. And if certainly by the end of summer, be sure in the midst of the governor's campaign, they know what the key themes are from the business community, and both from a regional basis and from a statewide basis. So I think working together, we can speak with one voice. Many of you I've talked to have already come forward and said we'd like to support this effort. I certainly want to recognize McGuire Woods and McGuire Woods Consulting, who has agreed to come forward and support this as the leading firm sponsor. Many other corporate sponsors that I've listed up here today, their representatives are here, and some others that have come to me to say, yes, we'll support this effort. I certainly will be contacting some more of you to say, be a part of Blueprint Virginia, and I appreciate your support in that regard. So in closing, I think through the blueprint, we'll work with all sectors of the economy to help craft a strategy that can have a long-lasting impact. Create not only a visionary document, but have some annual goals that we think are actionable, and help present a united front to the governor who's elected next year and the governor who's elected 4 years after to say this is the path that we'd like to be on, and we'd like to see Virginia achieve these goals and these objectives in years to come. Why is it? What is our motive? It's to help keep Virginia the best place to do business and to help keep Virginia a great place for people to come and to live and to work. Let me thank you for being a part of this program today. I appreciate your support in this endeavor. Again, if you're interested, you can come and see me and give me your card or leave your card on the back. And I want to thank all of you for helping make this day a success, especially our staff at the Chamber of Commerce. And again, thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you on the journey ahead. We're stand adjourned.